You're listening to an episode of Mr. Riley's Neighborhood. This is a place we're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, it's another great day in Burleson. I'm glad to be back. I had a little bit of a sabbatical. I had to attend a funeral on Monday. An unfortunate situation, but there you are. And then I also had a previous engagement on Tuesday. So today we're going to talk to Randi Woolsey of the CTE program at BISD. Tomorrow we'll be talking to Debbie Beeman of Promises at 9 o'clock, which is a special time. But Taylor, how you doing?
Can't complain. How about yourself?
It's a living, what show number is this, by the way?
It's like 380 something.
Okay, and see, that's what I like. Come on, we all figured out.
386.
386. We've been doing this since, September 19. So and they said it wouldn't last past 350. I don't know, something like that. Well, Randi Woolsey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
This is your first podcast, you say, but it's no big deal. It's just a conversation, and I wouldn't worry about it at all. But to tell us exactly what your title is.
So I'm the director of CTE for Burleson ISD.
And CTE is so much more expansive than when I was back in my high school days, or even when I began teaching here in Burleson. It's a tremendous program, and I find out more about it from other people. I said, we're actually teaching this now? I mean, I didn't even know that was part of the program. Are all these ideas coming from you? All these new programs?
So we are always looking to add new programs. Mm-hmm. I actually started this position in August. So the current programs that we offer were there before me. Mm-hmm. But yes, we are always looking to add opportunities that would be best for our students and our community.
Well, we'll talk about maybe, first of all, after just a brief introduction to yourself, we'll talk about the programs you do offer, and then maybe we'll talk about what you'd like to offer, and also the certifications that are available, which is just amazing to me. But before we do all that, we need to talk about sponsors to make all this available to whomever. CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Thank you, Daniel. Hope you're doing well. I know you just got back from your trip to Eagle's Nest in Guatemala. Eagle's Nest, by the way, Randy, is an orphanage in Guatemala, and Daniel helps run that. He's on the board. And I'm making a side note on Eagle's Nest. They like to have a year-end fundraising kick. They're trying to raise $1,000 for a specific item down in Guatemala. So if you want to help with that, get on the Eagle's Nest website and hit the donate button, because they're trying to raise $1,000, and I forget exactly what they're trying to raise it for specifically, but it doesn't matter. They're going to need it. And so they do good work. Terry and Tiffany McConnell down there would appreciate your support. Also, a good Christmas gift would be to sponsor a child for the next year. You could give yourself a Christmas gift, because I do that, and it's like, it's hard to describe how you feel when somebody who's sponsored gets adopted. You feel like you get a little teary-eyed. Anyway, back onto the CrossFit Burleson. They're open today and around the clock, so check it out. Also, thank you to Shandy Stocksdale. She'll be on not next week. I get my dates mixed up. A week from Monday. She's going to talk about the real estate market, which is going crazy, of course, with the rates. And Shandy always has good information. And so if you're looking to move in and around the Burleson area, you don't just have to be in Burleson, but if you're around this area, talk to Shandy, because she knows what she's doing, and she knows who to talk to and knows how to get things done. So talk to Shandy if you're going to move around here. Also, everybody's favorite restaurant, Our Place. I bet you've been to Our Place.
I have.
Who hasn't been to Our Place?
Right?
I was there this morning. Every other Thursday morning, the men in our Sunday school class get together and have breakfast. And the mayor was with us today, so, we're trying to straighten him out. Oh, good luck with that. But anyway, speaking of which, the mayor will be on next Tuesday, so if you want a piece of that, tune in next week. But anyway, Our Place restaurant, always a great place to go. His son Ryan and Lana is her name, run the place while Otto walks around acting like a big shot. It's like having Sinatra come visit your table when he's around. But anyway, Our Place restaurant, always a great place to go. And another great place to go is Wild Cigar and Culture. You don't really look like a cigar smoker. How about your husband? Is he a cigar smoker?
No.
Oh, well, but you may know somebody that is. And it's a great place to go. You get gift certificates for somebody for cigars. It's also a really nice bar. It's a nice place to do business. It's a quiet place. You can talk. You can have a decent drink. You can have, you actually hear yourself think. It's not like a sports bar. The ball game will be on, but it's on mute in the background if you really wanted to catch it. But still, it's a good place to go. Wild Cigar and Culture. So if this is a good time to get some gift certificates, and Chris has all sorts of plans, specials, drink specials, gift certificate specials, things like that. So go check it out. Also, Tiffany Nico over at Local Life Magazine. I know y'all do a little marketing with them. Tiffany is a local ad publication, and it's great. It's 30,000 homes. It's a really nice ad. She does a really good job. And also the city and the school, I know, put their public announcements in it. So probably Michaela could tell you more about that. But Local Life Magazine really does a good job. It came out last week, and it's as always good. And if you want to see what's going on today, look at locallifetx.com. And you can see what's going on. Also, we have Southern Gym. You ever been to Southern Gym?
No.
It's a jewelry store on the top of the Windmiller building off of Hidden Creek. My wife works there now. She worked at Centennial up until into September. And then she was able to retire, and she took that, and she's down at a jewelry store. And I'm telling you, she comes home, oh, this is so nice, and this is so nice. I'm like, hey, we're trying to turn a little bit of a profit here, but it's a nice place to go. Great place for gift certificates, get layaway if you want that. Also repairs, great inventory. They're moving to the bottom floor of the Windmiller building as fast as they can, hopefully by the end of the year. But it's a really nice place for jewelry. So maybe I take the husband up there and point at some stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it really is very nice. So also Hot Works, which is on 731 over by Chicken Salad Chick and the movie theater and whatnot on John Jones. It's infrared workout. It's like 11 different types of workouts with an infrared system, so it maximizes the workout. So they tell me, Taylor does it, and they tell me that it really does promote the workout without all the stress on your body and whatnot, and not in the stress on your joints. So check that out. Also, my insurance agent, Texas Farm Bureau, Melissa Harmon, 682-804-0534. She'll help you with your insurance. She'll check out what you got going on now, and if she can't help you, she'll tell you. But if she can, you might be able to save a little money or increase your insurance. Taylor, we got the nonprofit, because a bunch coming up in Christmas. This one is Re-Inspire, and they help people that are aging out of the foster care system and how do they adjust. We don't really think about that, but a lot of these kids don't know the basics of like having a bank account or, making a reservation or an appointment on the phone because, you think, well, who doesn't know? They don't. And we were taught because we had stable families to teach us this, but they don't. So what they do is help them with their skills and life skills. And so they're selling ornaments over at Accents over by the railroad, that near Old Town, and also in Bennett's downtown Cleburne. So $15 are asked. More is often appreciated. And we don't have, there it is. I was thinking Center for ASD. I got it confused. There's another one, but those are both last week, aren't they?
Yeah, everything's expired.
Yeah, and I'm getting, you get in this mindset. But Center for ASD is asking for help. They need supplies. They'll always take donations, financial donations, but they need supplies. Right now, the big thing is Lysol. Now, you know this group, don't you? You know Lisa Boltinghouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're on Rotary together.
Mm-hmm. And they need Lysol. They need paper plates and other paper goods, towels and such, plasticware, all those things that just kind of keep these centers going. I also that comes to mind. Next Step Women's Center also, as always, needs diapers. Promises is on tomorrow. Harvest House is on Monday, and they're going to tell you the same thing, that the need has really grown quite a bit. But anyway, I'll save that for tomorrow. Let's talk to you, Randy. How long have you been with the district, and what's your teaching experience with us?
Sure. So I started in BISD in 2016. I started out actually at Right Turn Discipline Center, and then I taught at Crossroads High School. Mm-hmm. After that, I moved into administration. The school was formerly known as Realm. It's now Game Development Design School, and I was an assistant principal there for 2 years.
Who's the principal there?
Crystal Deaver.
Okay. I'm not familiar, but it is all right. But there's so many people now. I used to know just about everybody, but now people move around here, there, and there. But it's interesting that you had this particular education experience, because these are the kids probably that benefit the most from CTE. The Right Turn, if you're not familiar with that, is where kids who say egregiously violate school code, they're put there for about 6 weeks.
Typically.
Yeah, right. It could be longer. But Crossroads is not anything like that. Crossroads is for the student that really doesn't do well in a traditional academic setting. And they may not have the same academic desires to be able to, go through a traditional education and get the certificate or diploma rather and all that. You're probably dealing with a lot of kids now that really do benefit from a CTE education.
It's certainly my experience as a teacher in an alternate setting. It has definitely been a great segue into CTE because you're right. This provides multiple opportunities for kids who maybe don't learn the same way as other kids, maybe want to choose a different path outside of high school than what we traditionally think. So it's all gone together very well. Same thing with Game Development Design School. That's a school of choice in BISD where students learn very differently.
Well, you oversee that too as well. When I think of CTE, and my experiences at BHS was like computer related with Scott Stevenson, or they also had, we had ag, we had some the building trades and things of that nature. And we had a cosmetology school, and now you go over Centennial and you have the culinary arts, et cetera. That to me was CTE, but it's much more broad than that now, even in the last 5 or 6 years, right?
That's correct. So we do still have some that you named. So we have ag, we have a construction program. This is actually the second year of that program. They have a carpentry as their focus for that program. We have arts and AV. So if you ever go to any Friday night football games, you'll see the awesome AV kids from both BHS and CHS that work the scoreboard. They work all the commercials and ads and things like that. We have business, marketing, and finance. So that career path. We have education and training where we truly are growing our own teachers. Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's really.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah,
yes.
that's really, really interesting.
Yes.
I taught school, of course, and I'd have students that want to become teachers. They go through the traditional path, but we really didn't have anything to prepare them other than having them taught well, as opposed to like but then around, I'm going to say 2013, 12, we did start getting a teaching program, and that would start helping prepare. And I thought, man, that's a great idea because it's, you talk to the HR people and they'll tell you they're always in need of good hires. And I thought that's a really good way to home grow your own.
Absolutely. We always need quality teachers. So those kids start in ninth grade and begin learning about child development and human development, and then work their way all the way up through their senior year where they're actually working in BISD classrooms by their senior year, helping kiddos, interning in BISD classrooms.
Almost all of them that I dealt with, they were like student in my class, and then they'll go to another school, dealt with elementary, because, having, a junior teaching another junior level class is not going to work. But almost all of them were elementary, but the skills transferred. Even if you didn't want to teach elementary, it's a good experience.
Absolutely.
To be around that age, because it'll teach a lot. When I first started teaching 7th graders, I thought, this is craziness. But I learned a lot about teaching that year.
Very quickly, huh?
Well, tell us all the numerous programs that we do offer.
Okay. So we also have health science. We have a huge partnership with Hughley for our health science students. It's actually our fastest growing program.
It's probably the longest served one, not longest serving one is the best way to put it. I know we've had that for a little while.
We have had health science for a little while.
Yeah, right.
I'm not exactly sure what the longest program is that we've had. If I had to really guess, it'd be ag.
Right. No question.
Right.
But as far as ag, or maybe some of the, like auto trades or whatever, but as far as like ones that require certifications, I know health science has been around with Lisa Sterra, who I worked with. And there's probably, she retired as well. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What other programs?
No, you are fine. So you named this one earlier. It's our hospitality and tourism program, culinary arts. Then we do still have cosmetology. That's a wonderful, very quick growing program as well. We have an IT program. It's through, it's a networking pathway. We have law, which includes our EMT. We have a fire academy, which we partner very well with the Burleson Fire Department on that. And then actual law pathway where students can...
That's interesting. A law pathway. I did not know that.
Yes, sir. And then we have STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And then you named it earlier, our automotive program.
Right.
And then welding as well.
Welding. I know they need welders.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad to hear that because, it sounds like everybody has something there that CT can offer them. If you're not really into academics, and there's no crime in that, you have skills outside of academics that we desperately need. I know that when the plumber comes, I'm not interested in hearing him recite Shakespeare. And so, that kind of stuff. I'm glad we have those kind of programs. Now, are these taught in one place or across the campuses around the district?
So some of our programs are offered. For example, cosmetology is housed at BHS, but any student, high school student at Burleson ISD can take those classes. So Fire Academy is another one that's housed at CHS, but regardless of what campus you are at, that you attend your other classes, we bus you back and forth for your CTE courses.
So you don't have to provide your own transportation?
No, sir. The district provides transportation all throughout the day for students to attend whatever class on whatever campus that it's offered. Most of our programs are offered on both campuses, but like the two examples I just gave you,
right.
We will bus your student there if needed.
Well, it'd be pretty expensive. Now, I'm quite sure you're familiar with the Ben Barber School over in Mansfield.
Yes.
I toured that a long time. In fact, one of our board members, Jerry McNair, was a principal at the time.
Yes.
And she took me on a tour there a few years ago, and I was like, my gosh, this is incredible, the stuff they offered. Is there any idea or any plan about having a separate single campus for all of these things?
So one of the things on that, when both high school campuses were planned, CTE was actually in mind, and being able to have CTE on a campus where students are so they don't have to go to a special center. So at this time, we're able to house, and we have plenty of space for our CTE programs on our traditional campuses. But of course, kind of like I mentioned earlier, we are always looking into, best fit for our students, our community. So if that's something that comes up in the future, we would definitely look at it if it's best for kids.
Well, I can't imagine it coming tomorrow because you're talking about an immense expense and investment. And I know, just listen to some of your colleagues at BISD, there's a lot of need in other areas all around. But, I was very impressed with Ben Barber. And I think there's the Dan Diepert Center in Arlington. In that breakfast I mentioned earlier, one of the guys there, his son-in-law works there. And I just wondered if that was in our future, but if you already have the facilities and kids aren't having, you could still take culinary arts and AP English or whatever, you're not sacrificing one over the other, then I guess we're handling it appropriately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm really impressed about the busing. I know it sounds like a minor thing, but just the fact that, that'd be the first thing I would think of. If I was over at Centennial, but I want to be an ag, it's over at BHS, right?
So ag is on both campuses.
Oh, it is now? Okay, it wasn't at the time.
Yes. Both Centennial and Burleson have ag programs.
Okay, well, like you mentioned, cosmetology.
Yes.
The young ladies or gentlemen, if they're taking it, will be bussed over from other schools, including Crossroads, right?
No, Crossroads students have some CTE classes that are there on their campus, but we don't bus those students.
Well, because they're in a different situation? Or?
They are. So Crossroads students are basically at a self-paced situation, and each of them have very different transcript and endorsement and credit needs, essentially. So those students stay at Crossroads and complete their pathways there.
I see. What about the computer-related skills? I mentioned Scott Stevenson, who retired the same year I did. He had a really nice computer program going on, and I'm sure it's been expanded since then and upgraded. So what goes on in the computer-related fields?
Sure. So we do have our IT program. And like I said, that is in networking. Their pathway is towards networking. However, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Game Development Design School.
A little, but not much.
Sure. No. So that's actually, again, where I was an assistant principal before I became the director. And so that campus actually starts, kids can start earning high school credit in 7th grade there.
Whoa.
Yes. Their CTE pathway actually, essentially starts then. And they learn how to truly build video games, code games. They also get certified in Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator. So those students, that campus is 6th through 12th grade. So you can start there in 6th grade. It's a process to get into the high school, but you can, finish out there. And they do, like I said, extensive work also with our IT department.
This is what used to be Venue 511.
Yes, sir.
Right,
That's where they're located now.
Now, academic courses taught there as well, or are they so like they have an English class, have a history class, they have a math class, like everybody else does.
Yes.
But they're still focused. That's kind of like what Ben Barber does, but you do it for the design school. So a kid's doing game design, but he also has English 3 to deal with as well.
Yes.
Okay, so.
It's all on one campus.
So there's no transportation back and forth there.
Yes, their transportation is actually for other things. So the middle school students there still have an opportunity to take athletics and things like choir and band. They would be their bus to their home campuses at the middle school level. Now, when the kids get to the high school level at that school, there is no transportation. They choose to truly focus on that game development and design aspect.
Oh, okay. So that's incredible, though, because to have a program like that, I don't know of many other school districts that have that. I'm sure some of the bigger ones might, but I don't know our size. I don't know many that have. How many students are in it, more or less?
At Game Development Design School, around 300.
That's kind of about what I figured for that facility, for size of that of that building and whatnot. That to me really is something. When I was in high school, my senior year, we got a computer class on my high school campus. It was still using punch cards. Okay, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
I don't.
Taylor, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd had to program it by. You get a big old stack of cards and you punch out and then you run it through the machine and it would read the holes and that's how you programmed it. Does that sound pretty ancient? But back then it was cutting edge technology. And we had the first AV class I've ever heard of. We had a Betamax order. Yeah. Am I dating myself here?
100%.
There you go. Okay. But wow, that's incredible. Betamax. And this young lady here has no idea what we're talking about. But anyway. I'm just saying it's just dramatically changed. I really like the emphasis that we're putting on this because in my experience, it was college prep. And that's still a very valid thing, certainly. But I think I taught a lot of those college prep type courses. I was concerned about those that we might not be reaching, that we were leaving behind. That they're not dumb kids, but they're not interested in going to college. And the only other alternative is just go to work and try to, as best they can, get their certifications, or go to the military and get certifications. We offer certifications, don't we?
Yes, we absolutely do. So a couple of things that I'll say about that is we actually, over 80% of our students are in CTE programs in Burleson ISD.
80%, really?
Over 80%, yeah, at the high school level. So in some of the pathways, these students will go on to college. Probably, if you think like your health science students, several of our ag students will, AV students as well. There was just a student that was recently accepted to a film school that's in our AV club. So a lot of our kiddos will go on to be in college. But yes, we do offer certifications for those that truly will be able to take that certification, walk across the stage in May, and start a career as soon after that. So we offer for our health science kids, it's the patient care technician. That's what they work towards all year. We have EMT like we discussed. We do NCCR core. That is more for our construction students. That's the program we use there and welding. They also get certified in AWS welding. We have CompTIA Plus, which is for our IT students that we kind of talked about earlier, Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. And then our auto tech kids also have an opportunity to take several different certifications from like lighting repair and electrical work. Microsoft, we actually had over 500 Microsoft certifications earned last year in BISD
500?
alone. Yes, sir. Over 500 last year. So
Goodness.
pretty incredible work.
Yeah,
there.
it is. I mean, that's a real job getter. It's a very attention getter on the resume.
Absolutely.
Now, all these certifications are not like issued by us. It's by outside certifiers.
These are true industry-based certifications. They are on a state-approved list through TEA that says, hey, we've done our research and we feel that these will help your students in future careers. We have a floral design program that actually falls under ag, but our students can also be certified in floral design. A lot of those students learn how to truly run a floral business if they want to do that one day as well.
Well, I do know. I sat on the State Board for Educator Certification for 7 years, and we were getting a lot of this was coming to us about adding CTE certifications. And there was a process to get approved, not by, we were like the final stamp. I mean, it wasn't like anything we were driving. We were like giving it the blessing or whatever. But TEA would come say, we got this program here, and we need you to approve the kind of teacher that would teach it and that kind of thing. Sure. And there's all these outside certifications, particularly like Google, and I don't know if they still have it, Java, and you mentioned Adobe and Microsoft, and then and they would say, with these certifications, these people can get jobs right away, and it's not like they're going to be starving, because there's a real need for all these people, still is. And then, like I mentioned before with the trade techs, these plumbers make good money.
Absolutely.
These HVAC people make good money. Welders make good money, and I'm glad that we're providing that kind of pathway.
Me too. I think it's incredible. Some of the other ones, we have some vet tech kids who also they work towards veterinary assistant certifications. We have the basic fire structure for our fire academy students. Cosmetology students, what's amazing about that is when they leave us, if they complete their cosmetology operator license, they can truly begin cutting hair professionally right after that.
Right.
So the education students that we talked about earlier, we also work to get them their educational aid certification.
Well, by the way, just a side note, Scott Shahay's watching, so he's making sure,
Hi, Scott. Hi, Scott.
We worked together for many, many years.
He's a great guy.
Yes, very much so. I'm very glad to know him. Now, as far as the community in Burleson, you were talking about partnerships. All right, so they could almost like an apprenticeship kind of thing. Is that what, am I thinking of it the right way?
You are.
Right.
So typically by the time our students reach their senior year, they have double blocks, so 2 periods a day that they are out in the community with our partners. And we have some amazing partners in the Burleson community that have truly really showed up for our kids, honestly. But they go to these businesses and get hands-on experience. So I referenced Hughley earlier. They're a great partner with us, the hospital, and then when they actually have several clinics that we've just added to our students' rotation. KWS, we actually have some engineering students there as well as welding students. Burleson Nissan, they're another great partner for our auto kids. We have some kids there that if you use them to get your oil change, it was possibly, one of our kids oversaw that.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. But then we also have places like Hickory Tree, which that's in Joshua, but we have some kiddos placed there. Cakes by Kathleen, Albertsons, HEB.
I know Cakes by Kathleen.
Yeah.
She did my daughter's cake for her wedding. Yeah.
Well, we have students that are there actually, working. Alvarado Vet Clinic, there are several vet clinics here in the Burleson area that allow our students to come in and get some hands-on experience. Varsity Express Car Wash, they're another one that we have kiddos over there. So a lot of the places you've probably seen BISD kids and you didn't even realize that we're there working through it's practicum is what the class is called, but it is essentially an internship.
Well, I remember when my latter days, they had, besides the teacher one we mentioned already, but also the hospitality services, and they're working with like restaurants or whatnot. And because we don't really have much hotel experience around here, but I remember them leaving school every day, and it is either in the morning they take it or they come in afternoon classes or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so they get all that going on. And how would somebody say, hey, I want to get involved in this? How would they contact you? Would they contact you and you start working out the process?
Absolutely. Contact me, please. I can, give you my email. I'm on the district website if you look up CTE. But yes, contact me because I can definitely get that ball rolling. But we have lots of people in the community that have shown up big for our kids, and we're very grateful for those partnerships.
Well, and it's odd you mentioned that. In a sense, not odd. It's ironic because I talked to a couple people yesterday, and they can't find people to work, but they need skilled workers, and it's very, very difficult. One of my BNI friends, the networking group I'm in, needs somebody to help handle her promotions business, working that machinery and all the computer programs. That would be something that maybe she might want to look into, get some help. What financial obligation would a potential sponsor have to provide?
So there's no financial obligation. These
Okay.
students can be unpaid. Some choose to be paid, but most of our students, it's truly like an internship.
Right.
They are benefiting, coming in, getting hands-on experience from you, and then possibly,
Mm.
like you're referencing, you're training these kids up, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
it could be something, a potential for their future. One of the things you kind of mentioned was promotion. So Game Development Design School that I mentioned earlier, their senior, they have a practicum in entrepreneurship where they are helping run social medias and promote for over 50 local companies right now, and it's a free service. Now, a teacher obviously oversees that, but they help push out different things on social media for companies. They look at the data behind that. So that's a pretty cool opportunity that's completely free to anyone that's interested in those services
So
too.
they don't have to pay. I mean, it makes it sound like
No.
we're taking advantage of these poor kids, but they're getting a tremendous education and experience that they could put on the resume.
Absolutely. And most of them are. In fact, part of that class is building a resume, and they're able to say that they did this for businesses while still in high school. So it's a great opportunity for them.
I'm trying to put the whole picture together. BISD. I had Seth Hickman on about 2 months ago, and he talked about all these kids are getting associate's degrees from the early college program. I guess it just, when you're a teacher in the classroom, that's all you see quite often. Now that I'm out here, I see the bigger picture, and I'm just very impressed that we have so many avenues for a kid to walk out of our system with a tremendous leg up on what's going on, either with an associate's degree that saves them 2 years of college and the expense, which you said you got a freshman son, is that right?
I do.
And let me tell you, it's expensive to go to college.
Yes, very. Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying, that these, as somebody my age, I'm 60, and I see, back then, here's your diploma and I'll beat it. Now we have a situation, they're coming out prepared to go to college or prepared to go into the workforce. They can go get, advanced certifications because they already have gotten the basic ones out of the way. I'm just thinking, my goodness. You also, and we were having a pre-talk, I guess, if you want to call it that, you were mentioning about student organizations.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we have, kids, obviously, like we've talked about, they have certain pathways that they follow through school, through the CTE classes. But a big part of CTE is also student organizations. What's really cool about student organizations in CTE is they're co-curricular. So it allows the kids to take what they're learning in the classroom and basically compete outside of the classroom. So we have FFA, which is probably one of the most common that most people know about, Future Farmers of America. But even that has changed a lot since I personally was an FFA.
Oh, you were an FFA?
I was. Yeah, it was a huge part of my life
Which
for
high
a
school?
very long time. So I actually graduated from Godly. And so I was there, but then in middle school, I went to another smaller school, and it was a big 4-H and FFA were a big part of my life. But it's changed a lot since I was there. So, your traditional showing of animals, which is amazing, but then there's all types of leadership opportunities, speaking engagements, and we have lots of students that compete and do those things. We have Skills USA. Skills USA is probably one of the bigger associations that we're a part of and compete in, but our AV kids compete in that, our auto kids, engineering students also compete at that, and our law students. And there's tons of different competitions they can enter. You can enter as a team. You can enter as an individual. We've just done fabulous at those competitions. We have, for Game Development Design School specifically, those students are a part of the Technology Student Association, where they can compete to build games. And those students actually went to nationals last year.
I want to go back to the law one, just because that's very intriguing to me. I teach constitutional law at DBU.
Okay.
This the kids that are going on the law path.
Yes, sir.
Which school are they going to? Both of them?
Both.
Both, okay. So, is it taught like just a regular class, I assume, or is it like separated out from other social study requirements?
It's separate. It's a CTE pathway.
Okay.
You choose the law pathway. And so those students actually work towards like a security officer certification. And then we've also added this year a telecommunications certification that they can get.
Well, see, when I think of law, I'm thinking about legal profession. You're thinking law enforcement.
Law enforcement.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, that. I remember we had some of that, but this sounds like this is much more extensive than what we had before.
Yeah, this is 4 years that they dedicate to that pathway. And like I said, then they can earn the certifications at the end.
Well, I like the fact that you can get these certifications before they leave school. And then, there's hundreds of certifications in all these fields. I was talking to one of my former students in cybersecurity, and he said, there are literally hundreds of different areas you can get certified in cybersecurity.
Yes.
And do we do that as well, cybersecurity?
So we don't right now, but that's actually one that I would love to look into adding for us because it's everywhere.
Well, that's a good segue because the next question is what programs do you want to add?
Yeah. So cybersecurity would be probably one of the number one to look into. There's something else we're looking into is kind of merging the sports medicine world with our health science world.
Sure.
We think there's a great opportunity there. So those would be the top two right now. I mean, the programs we have are so amazing, and I want to continue to grow those and get them to the highest level possible. But cybersecurity would definitely be one because it's truly everywhere and it's so needed.
Well, maybe I missed this. Do we have an HVAC program?
We don't have HVAC at this time.
Okay, that would be something maybe. I mean, I'm just suggesting this because I know at Hill College they have it, and these guys are always talking about it. I talked to one of my contractor friends yesterday at that meeting, and he's in roofing and all that. And construction trades, they need help desperately, so very much so. But HVAC might be an expensive one. They're all going to be expensive, but it's well worth the cost when you see what we're producing. I mean, that's an investment.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And we base that on, local market needs, what kind of our needs are in our area. But absolutely, we're always looking into what's another opportunity that fits our area, but that can benefit our students really at the end of the day.
Well, and that's great because, again, we mentioned this earlier, that among some of the, I guess you want to call it criticisms that some people have public schools is that they try to do too much for too many. But I'd say no, you got to think about what we're putting these kids into in the world we're putting them into. If you just said, okay, here's your basic education, now good luck to you, it's going to be rough. It's not like it was in my day. We had a fairly set path. Now you have all these different things that I couldn't even dream of back in 1980 that these kids could do, and to send them in a very narrow way out there would be a criminal act almost. And now we're providing such a way that all these things this economy and the society offer are going to be available to them.
Absolutely.
And you must feel pretty good about being part of that, I'd hope.
I really do. Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, starting my career kind of in an alternate setting and being able to be a part of this and just help kids get on the right foot to start their path to adulthood.
And you think about it, a lot of these kids are probably particular coming from homes that college may be just too expensive.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and now we're providing a way for them to get a full-on career as opposed to a job.
Absolutely, a full career. And that's another reason why the community partnerships are so important too, is that's helping students make connections and learning job skills, making connections with those that are right here. Because, of course, we would never discourage a kid to move on, right? But if we can keep kids here and really grow our own right here in this community and have quality employees to give back to our community and our community give back to them, that's really the ultimate goal.
You caught me while I was drinking some water. I'm really dry. I've been working through a cold, and all the drugs really dry you out. But anyway, I really am impressed with this, and I have to ask also, there has to be an emphasis coming from somewhere. I mean, like I said, this was not something that I grew up with. It was not something I started my teaching with. That is the push towards it. What has been the reason why this has gotten so much more focused on in the last 5-6 years? You were telling me earlier that even in the last 5 years, it's greatly expanded. What has caused that push to expand it?
Well, I think there have been different House bills that have passed, but also I think really the realization, like you referenced earlier, construction, for example, we need quality workers. We want to encourage the kids if they want to go to college. Obviously, both of us sitting here went to college, and that was a great path, but we need plumbers, like you said. We need people that can weld. We need HVAC. We need cosmetologists. I know I certainly do. I think that's a lot of it.
Oh, my.
Truly, I think that's a lot of it is there. I think our society, fortunately, is seeing that there's a need for all types of trades. College is amazing. A lot of these kids are going to go to college, but some of these kids want to go straight into trade, and we need to really foster that.
I was thinking also, even if they wanted to go to college, it's nice to have a job, a skill they can use part-time to help pay for this college, you know?
Absolutely. If you can be a cosmetologist and pay for your way through college or, weld on the side, whatever that may look like, you're exactly right. That can help with college costs too.
It beats working at a pizza joint.
Sure does.
That'd be a great skill. I have no technical skills whatsoever. And so I depend on these people.
Yeah,
very much so. And so I'm really glad that we're doing this. I'm glad to be part of a community that supports it. I'm sure you get a lot of support, and I know it is probably a budgetary situation that that you have to deal with every year because it just doesn't come free, but it's worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Absolutely worth it. And to watch the kids at the end of the year walk across the stage, to have those certifications. Last year, Burleson ISD had 1,100, actually over 1,100 certifications, industry-based certifications that were issued just last year alone.
Oh my!
Yeah, that's 1,100 lives essentially that were changed. And that's how I look at that.
1,100, that's impressive.
Yeah,
and like I was mentioning earlier, these are not credentials we gave them. It's credentials they were received from outside credentialing services and industries. One of the things in my Texas government class, I talk about how every profession in the state, you need to have a certification.
Yes.
And it isn't like, okay, I feel like cutting hair, I'm going to open up a shop, or I feel like opening up a plumbing business. You have to be certified.
Yes.
And we're providing that for them, at least getting the first leg of it, the basics.
The basics, absolutely.
Yeah. And then they can go on from there, and they'll be ahead of some, trainee apprentice. I'm very impressed. As far as the show, I always let the guests have the last word. So you tell us everything, Ms. Woolsey, what you'd like first and the community to know about CTE.
First off, I just want to say thank you. We have a lot of very strong community partnerships, several of them that I listed, but we can always use more. So if you heard anything on the program today that you think you would be interested in, even guest speakers in classrooms are so valuable. Maybe you don't have an opportunity for our kids to intern with you, but maybe you want to come speak to a class or mentor one of our students. We are always looking for those kind of partnerships, but our students have a lot to offer the community.
It's just kind of wild idea. I'm just throwing out there, Taylor.
What's up?
You probably wouldn't mind having some of these kids come by and checking out your place, and you can talk to him about it. He loves doing that. He's very proud of the studio.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be kind of an interesting thing to do sometime?
For sure.
Yeah, you got to get him on board. He knows all about it. I know how to turn it on, and then after that, it's all up to him.
Well, Taylor and I can meet after this, but right. Yeah, we would have kids interested in that because you heard from our variety of programs, we have kids interested in a plethora of things. And so if you heard anything today and you're interested, if you want to learn more, if you want to be a guest speaker or a mentor, or you want to partner with us and allow our kids to come in and intern, we would love to have it.
Yes. And as for the future, it's upward and onward, right? Upward and onward
for sure.
Well, I thank you for being here. I really learned a lot. I mean, I knew of it. Now I know more of it. And I'm just impressed. And I'm really glad to have you here and glad to have you in our district doing this for us.
Thank you.
I think if the more people knew the people at BISD, they'd be even more pleased with the product. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to meet a lot of the administrators in the various areas. Like I had Seth, had Ken Ozzie on last month, and the quality of people that we have is impressive.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I don't know who's going to be on next. Michaela handles all of that. She tells me who I'm going to get, and I go, great. So she had to twist your arm to get you here, or you're like, oh, no, all right, I get to do this, and it's going on a podcast.
I was actually really excited. Like I said, it was my first podcast, but I am always looking for an opportunity, like you said, to educate the community, because I think the more people know, I think people truly want to help, but we have to get that out there, what it is we do, what it is that we need. And I'm always always looking for the next chance to share what we do and the amazing things our kids and teachers are doing.
Well, I hope this modest little podcast will get some of the word out there, and they'll contact you for other things. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Tomorrow I'll have Debbie Beeman on from Promises, and Monday is going to be Jennifer Woods with Harvest House, and Tuesday will be the mayor. So we got a lot going on in the next 3 shows, so I hope to see you all then. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.